Welcome to the Holyland Dispatch podcast.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Holyland Dispatch podcast. Among my many flaws, I'm a raving dentophobe.
Yeah, and you're an anti-dentite.
I know a few dentists, and they are wonderful people. Some of the gentlest, more empathetic folks I know. Hey, it's not you, it's me. Something about the smell in the clinic, the sound of the tools, and a childhood trauma. I'll get into a state of near panic when I sense there might be a reason to see a dentist.
Oh, you're hysterical.
I'll try to wish the pain away, try to numb it. I'll do anything humanly possible to delay an appointment, until it becomes inevitable and the pain wins. Then I drag myself to the dentist. I still go through the panic attack, though this time I have to endure. This, however, involves more pain, a lengthier treatment, perhaps even touching more teeth than originally needed, and on top of it all, it's almost always more expensive. Don't get me wrong, I'm familiar with the concept of treating something when it's small, but when it comes to dentists, I can't help it.
Yeah, and you're an anti-dentite.
But enough about me. Let's talk about the judiciary in Israel. For a few years now, I speak in favor of a reform and have supported the failed attempt by the government to make some really necessary changes. The people behind the planned reform are talking about it for decades now, only I was too blind and too much on the left to care. 2023 will be remembered for October 7th, but it will also be remembered for the victory of the loud minority over the timid vast majority. By means of intimidation, threat, and borderline betrayal, the people in the leftist strongholds, backed by foreign money, allegedly US aid and some European aid, as well as their backers at home, declared war against the state. Like other demagogues before them, they were able to color this in the blue and white, pretending to be some sort of protectors of democracy. All the while, they fought for an unchecked judges, an AG who trespasses on the executive branch, and did that while leaning on army generals and Shin Bet heads. Very democratic-like, you know. Under their guidance and direction, parts in the Army Reserve declared they will stop quote-unquote volunteering, whatever the hell that means, and that they will not show up to protect the country in case of war. Enough people bought that BS and, fueled by their Bibi derangement syndrome, went out to demonstrate against what is obvious to anyone willing to look outside the camp. The judiciary needed an overhaul. It still does. The fight to make some democracy-saving changes in this system, after it was hijacked by Aharon Barak and his cronies, was brought to a halt by the loud minority and put on the back burner on October 7th, 2023. No one really wanted to discuss this during the war, and it's totally understandable. Although, even while our soldiers were risking their lives, some of the people in the judiciary didn't feel like making nice. It couldn't have been more obvious than in the case of the Sede Teiman cooked-up video leak, but it didn't start nor stop there. Field commanders in the army report many interferences in their activity by the Chief of Military Advocate General. This high-ranking bureaucrat who hasn't seen a fight in her life kept interfering with their operational decisions. This isn't new. We've seen this in times between wars. Very often, when the Military Advocate General showed zero interest in the safety of our soldiers, let alone of our civilians, and put the emphasis almost exclusively on caring for terrorists' well-being. But during this war, it was even more enraging. A war that started with the inhumane brutality of Hamas and prosecuted by the IDF with extreme caution, was hampered again and again by this group of non-combatants. Then, for reasons beyond reason, came that cooked-up video and its leak to the press. If you're not up to date on this, let me summarize this for you. In July 2024, the military police arrived at the Sede Teiman military base, serving as a holding facility for the nastiest of the Nukhba terrorists who were captured on October 7, 2023. They went there in order to arrest soldiers and officers. On August 6th, on Israel's most viewed TV channel, a video is presented, supposedly showing soldiers attacking or torturing a Nukhba terrorist. The reporter is explicitly using the term rape as part of his description. The video shows nothing of this sort, but that doesn't stop the media from continuing to spread this libel. Immediately, foreign media outlets start echoing these unfounded allegations, and very soon this video is viewed by many millions of people around the world. The video is used to this day as a so-called proof of the cruelty of the IDF and its immoral standards. Not a week after airing on Israeli TV and sparking a new wave of anti-Semitic protests and attacks, the video was shown to be completely cooked and dishonest. The video that aired was compiled by someone. It was heavily edited, as could be understood by the multiple date and time stamps on its sections. It was compiled as a single event, although it was made of multiple ones. It showed nothing more than a fairly aggressive search of a terrorist who resisted. It definitely did not show anything resembling rape. These allegations are still being thrown all over the internet, even though the charges does not appear in the complaint against the soldiers due to it simply not taking place. The terrorist himself did not accuse them of rape, and we know now that he was approached and coaxed by unnamed individuals within the Shin Bet to make such a complaint. The person in charge of this prosecution was, of course, the Chief Military Advocate General, Yifat Yerushalmi. We are nearing the end of 2025, which means that for almost a year and a half, a dark cloud of false accusations hung over the heads of 5 to 10 Israeli soldiers who were being made patsies by the high-ranking officer. For close to 18 months, these people lived with a completely unfair tag on their heads. Even though they are not even accused of any sexual offense, they are labeled as rapists. Even though the video shows absolutely nothing outrageous, they are labeled as abusers. One of them suffered cardiac arrest, another went through a divorce, another lost his job. Who cares? They're just some hooligans. They were chewed up, spat out, and spat at by the corrupt person at the top of the military prosecution and her helpers. This was some of the personal price that no one actually cares about. Who gives a toss about 5 unnamed soldiers who are wrongly accused of crimes they did not commit? We have testimonies from released hostages that confirm that as a result of airing this cooked-up video, the terrorists who held them captive took revenge against our hostages, physical and sexual violence. We know that this outrageous video contributed to the anti-Semitic attacks on Jews and serves to this day to smear the nation. The damage this single cooked-up video caused is immeasurable, and we didn't even get to the fact that it arrived at the hands of a reporter. For many months, many Israelis asked, how come this video even saw the light of day? This is, in my humble opinion, the secondary question. It's absolutely disgusting that it was leaked, and we'll get back to it, but I'd like to know first, who cooked this one up? Who sat and made the effort to bring different occasions together with the clear intent of smearing the soldiers, the IDF and Israel with a malicious video? Who in their right mind decided it was a good idea to make this video to begin with? But we're jumping ahead. The estimate was that before it reached the reporter, the number of people who had knowledge of its existence was about 5 or 10 people. It should have been very simple to identify the leak. After all, when it comes to Netanyahu, for example, the police, under instructions from the AG and the prosecution, can break into phones and extract data, relevant or not, as long as it serves as prosecution. But what do you know? When it comes to the Chief Military Advocate General, everyone were stumped. It was a mystery. Who is the leaker? This issue was pushed by politicians and civilians until the AG, remember her, went to the Supreme Court and declared in a statement that there is simply no way to determine the source of the leak. Not only that, she, in her great wisdom, claimed that no damage was caused to the state of Israel as a result of the leak. Could she have known very well who was the source of the leak? Could she have been laying the first lines of defense for that person? Could she have been playing interception, giving time to that person to, make some things vanish, coordinate testimonies, etc.? I'm simply asking. The investigation of the leak was entrusted to the Deputy Chief of Military Advocate General. Yes, you've heard that correctly. The responsibility for looking for the leaker was given to the person reporting to one of the alleged suspects. No conflict of interest whatsoever. We'll get back to conflict of interest later. This was the situation up until a couple of weeks ago, when the ground in Israel started to rumble and shake. It started with a by-the-book process of vetting an officer in the Military Advocate General office. As part of this process, she had to go through a lie detector test, which had nothing to do with our story specifically, except when answering some questions about her integrity, it was soon revealed that she was the one who gave the video and other sensitive materials to the reporter. It was revealed that she did that under instructions from her boss, the Chief Military Advocate General, Yifat Yerushalmi. Along with her testimony to the police, she handed her phone exposing a WhatsApp group involving additional higher-ups from the office who are also expected to be interrogated. The Chief of Staff was notified and immediately acted to remove her from office. She then resigned and admitted that she was the one behind the leak to the reporter. She had the temerity to claim that she did so in order to defend the system, quote-unquote, against cruel attacks against it. The irony was not lost. If there were anyone to be defended against a cruel attack, they are the smeared soldiers. But here is where things really become interesting, weird, and borderline conspiratorial. Try to follow. On Sunday, November 2nd, Yifat Yerushalmi's family reported her missing. She was gone for some hours and was unresponsive. The police, army, and civilians started looking for her, finding her car engine still running at a beach of the Mediterranean. She was not there. Her phone that last pinged at that location stopped sending a signal, which made it impossible to track. A couple of hours passed while the nation held its collective breath and, well, the lady was found safe and sound on a different beach, sans one iPhone 16. After being medically cleared, she is taken for questioning and becomes very forgetful. She doesn't remember or know where her phone is. She doesn't recall whose phone she used to call her husband from the beach. Conveniently amnesiac. Immediately and very expectedly, the tables turn on her. From deep concerns for her well-being, which was shown by supporters and critics alike, she is now a target for cynical criticism. Was the whole disappearing and suicidal trip a show? Was it in fact an elaborated attempt to obstruct justice? If you thought that this was the end of our ongoing drama, you are of course wrong. Because, well, 5 days after the big disappearance, you'll never guess what was found. Yes, indeedy, that iPhone 16. Apparently, 5 days after the fact, the phone was found. But get that. We may have to add a story to the Bible because miracles like this one don't happen very often. In fact, I'd wager they don't happen, period. The phone was allegedly found in the shallow water of the sea. As if Moses himself reached his hand and took it out, the phone was fully operational. Yes, and to be considerate of the investigation, it was also halfway charged. A miracle at the beach. While the phone was found, and after only 5 days of being arrested, the corrupt chief of military advocate general was released to house arrest with extremely lenient terms. While this magic was taking place, the Minister of Justice demanded that the AG, Gali Baharav Miara, disqualifies herself from participating in the investigation due to obvious conflict of interest. She of course refused because, well, she can do anything she wouldn't allow the Prime Minister to do. Then, Tomer Yerushalmi was rushed to the hospital after quote-unquote taking pills. I hope your head didn't spin. See, to me one thing seems very clear. The people in the judiciary are at least not less corrupted than politicians. This case, among many others, sends a clear message to anyone with reception. The people in the judiciary are not immune against corruption. They are not in possession of higher moral codes than you or I. They are just as fallible and weak as we are. This realization is starting to sink in with more and more Israelis. While they and their puppets lecture us simpletons about democracy, honesty, integrity, and other virtues, they swim in filth. While they preach against the dangers of politicians enacting policies without their supreme moral supervision, it becomes more and more apparent to more and more people that they are not superior in any way. People are starting to realize that there was already a judiciary revolution, the one started by Aharon Barak. The revolution that somehow convinced so many people that the people who have everyone's best interest are 5 unelected judges, and not the 120 politicians we voted into the Knesset. People to this day vehemently argue against politicians and for judges and other unelected functionaries in the judiciary. Somehow we let that propaganda take hold. We elect politicians. We entrust the managing over the country and the furthering of its interests in the hand of the executive and legislative branches. If they misbehave or do things that are dissatisfactory, we have a tool to replace them. It's called elections. We're forced to trust the so-called checks and balances, which at face value is a good thing, but de facto do not exist. No one can check the Supreme Court. We've covered that in the past. The Supreme Court has the AG's back. Well, at least this friendly AG. Everything the government tries to do which doesn't align with the Supreme Court's political agenda, and make no mistake, they certainly have one, gets thrown with nothing the executive branch can do about it. But we're told, oh, don't worry, because the judges and the other functionaries you see, they have integrity and morality, unlike those dirty politicians. Well, we're seeing clearly that is not true. Not only are they not better than any politician in any way, shape, or form, we also have no mechanism to send them packing, even when they literally work against the interests of Israel and the Israelis. Even when they break the law, because their word is law. They interpret the law based on Barak's standards, which pretty much means however they want. These problems are becoming impossible to brush under the rug. More and more people are asking the questions. This is kind of like a toothache. It's something that the Supreme Court had an opportunity to take care of in early 2023. It's something that the judiciary could take care of right now. They had a few chances. Some compromises were suggested. They didn't budge. So now they have a decision to make, and the window in which they have to make it is starting to close. We could start a reform in the judiciary. The Minister of Justice is still willing to make compromises to make that happen. It will hurt their pride, no doubt, and they are prideful to a fault. Or they can continue this war of attrition. They will have some wins. However, they run the risk of this little cavity turning into a root canal treatment or major surgery. If they continue to play a political game and expose their dishonesty, the ever-shrinking confidence some people may still have in them will disappear, and then a reform will be done, with massive support from the people. The judiciary watches us all from their ivory towers. We may have looked like ants in the past, but we are legion, and they will find us at their figurative doorstep one day. That day is much nearer than they tend to believe. We have a head of Shin Bet now who doesn't seem to dance to their flute. We have President Trump openly criticizing them. More importantly, we have people opening their eyes and starting to understand they were lied to, they were manipulated. I can't blame them for procrastinating. I am a dentophobe.
Yeah, and you're an anti-dentite.
But I've had my root canal treatments, and so will they. Thank you, good people, for listening. See you on the next episode of the Holyland Dispatch podcast. God bless.